Then previously we spoke about al-fi'l al-mudari, present tense verb, right? And the last rule we had is going to be our first rule that we explained, and is that the fi'l mudari is marfu' as long as there's nothing in front of it to change it. As long as there's nothing in front of it that's going to change it, it's going to be marfu'. So if we were just to write down any verb, yadhabu, you're gonna see your dhamma there, right? Yadhabu, you know, it doesn't matter. Yastaghfiru, right? Any verb that you pick, yastaghfiru, right? Any verb in the present tense is going to be marfu' yad'u, right? Unless something goes in front of it to change it. And then there are things which go in front of it to make it mansub, right? And the things that we learned were an, lan, idhin, and K. If they go before a fi'l mudari, present tense verb, they become mansub. And then we learned that there could be things which make it majzum, right? And they were they were right up above. There were 3 of them. I remember la An-Nahw, right? Lam, right? Lam, la An-Nahw, and in. Oh, yep. They were lam, right? La An-Nahw, meaning a prohibition, telling you not to do something. And in, right? That they will make the verb following them majzum, right? And if they don't follow those things, or what's similar to them, don't follow or don't precede the verb, then it's going to be marfu' if there's nothing in front of it. And we also discussed briefly, and this is really sarf, but we have to learn it, but it's going to come by practice, that for instance, something is marfu'. So if we take yadhabu, right? Yadhabu, it's marfu' here with a dhamma, right? If we have yadhabuna, right? It's marfu' here with a wow, right? And yadhabani, right? Yadhabani, it's marfu' here with an alif. And there can be يذهب, it could be يذهبا, right? يذهبا, which was originally يذهباني, but because it is mansoob, we drop our noon, right? So it's mansoob be hadf noon, with dropping the noon. Same thing can be with majzoom. It can be majzoom with hadf noon, so on and so forth. The sign isn't always, the point of that is, the sign isn't always the dhamma, it isn't always the sukoon, it isn't always the fatha. There can be other signs depending on the type of verb it is.
So, Habani, you're saying that's marfu?
It's marfu. For two people. For two people. This is why we have to learn sarf. We have to learn our charts. We have to learn how do we make things. We have yadhabu, right? We have tadhabu, for she went, or she's going rather. Tadhabu. We have you went, same thing. Tadhabu, it looks the same as she, right? They're the exact same look. Tadhabu. Then we have tadhabina.
So if you just reading it, you can get that wrong.
Huh?
If you're just reading that, you can get it wrong. She and you.
If you don't know the context of it, you would get it wrong. But why, you know, when you're talking about somebody, when you start talking, you understand context. I mean, same thing happens in English. You, right? You is for. In fact, in Arabic we have 4, 5, 6 different yous, right? In English we only got one.
That's what I'm saying. So.
I mean, it's a whole lot easier in Arabic when you only have 2 that are alike. But I don't think when you've ever spoken to anyone, you've gotten confused what you meant by you.
Well, I know not when you're just speaking something, I'm saying, but just reading, if you had something say, you know, tafhabu, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
You're like, okay, you wouldn't know what they were talking about, you know, until you get further off into the...
Same thing if I put you.
Well, in English, you just, it means for anybody, you know what I'm saying? It covers all of that. I see.
Yeah, but if there's a boy and a girl in one group here and one group there, and I said you, am I talking to everybody? Am I talking to just the boys? Am I talking about just the girls? Am I talking about to a girl or to a boy?
It's something that's to specify that though. That's what I'm saying. That's the difference in English.
Same thing. No, it's not a difference. It's going to be the same thing in Arabic. You're going to say, Ya Muhammad tadhab ila suq, or you're going to say Fatima tadhab Fatima ila suq. You know, it's going to be, you're going to have something clarifying it and qualifying it in Arabic as well. It's the same thing. But here you have adhabu, then you have here yadhabani for 2, right? Yadhabani. Here you have tadhabani, right? And here you don't have a dual for there. Then you have yadhabuna, yadhabuna, right?
Yadhabuna, that's female.
Where? Which one?
Yeah.
No, yadha is he. Tadhab is she.
Okay.
This is masculine, feminine. Masculine, feminine. For first person, there is no masculine and feminine, right?
The way you got those to, okay, yes, Habani, you said that's masculine.
It's
But you got
two.
it.
It's two. Yadhabani means two, and it's used for male and female.
Oh, okay. Because that's what I was asking you, yes, Habani. I was like, okay, that's masculine or test Habani. You said that's feminine.
Your question is not clear to me. Would you say it again?
I was asking you, yes, Habani.
Okay.
That masculine, male or female, you said that was masculine.
Is male or female? I thought you were saying yadhab for this one. Yadhabani is two people are going and is used for masculine and feminine. Because it's two. So it's used the same. Masculine or feminine.
Okay.
It's going to be dual.
Tadhabani.
Tadhabani is you two are going. This is these here are third person. These two are second person. And this is first person. This is singular, dual, plural. So yadhabu is a singular masculine. He is going. Tadhabu, singular feminine. She is going. Tadhabu, singular masculine. You are going. Tadhabina, singular feminine. She is going. Or you are going to a female. Adhabu, I am going. Male, female. Yadhabani, them two are going. It's the same for male and female. Tadhabani, you two are going. Right? Male and female. And there is no dual for the first person. Right? Yadhabuna, yadhabna. That's plural, masculine and feminine. Tadhabuna, tadhabna. Same thing. You guys are going, male, female. And nadhabu, first person, we are going. Now,
yes, Habuna is you guys.
Yes.
Okay.
This ya is letting you know it's third person. And what's what now?
The second one is Yadhabna.
Yadhabna. That's for you guys are going to females.
Female. Okay. And then Tadhabuna is you guys.
Is you guys. Here, Yadhab is them guys. Yadhabuna, they are going. Yadhabna, they are going. Masculine, feminine, third person. Yadhabuna, they are going. Not you guys. If I said it, I don't know why.
Okay. Yeah.
Yadhabuna, they are going. Third person, plural.
I thought that was like more than two people because this is dual in the middle.
This is. It's plural. It's they for three or more people.
Okay.
They are going. Male and female. Right? Tadhabuna, tadhabna. You guys are going. Plural. Three or more.
There you go, you
to
guys.
a group of people. Second person. And nadhab is we are going. First person.
You said you guys are going again now.
No, I said nadhab. We are going.
No, not Nathab. I know you said Nathab. I'm talking about Tathab. Tathabna.
Tadhabna is for females. Tadhabuna is for males.
Okay, but you say you guys.
Yeah, you guys.
Okay,
you
so
girls. You guys, you girls. Or however you want to do it.
Okay. Tathabuna is they.
No. Look at the chart. I
I'm
got
looking
it.
at it.
First person, second person, third person, masculine, feminine. Okay? Third person is talking about a group of people. It's they. They're not here, right? They're not in our conversation. They. Just like in English, they. You have third person. They.
Tethabuna.
No, yadhabuna is third
I
person.
mean, yathabuna. Yathabuna.
Yeah,
My
and
bad. Yathabuna.
yadhabna is third person
Third
to
person,
female.
female.
Now in
Okay.
English, both of those days are the same one.
Yeah, I know that. We're not gonna go there now.
Right.
But we know that. Now,
Is
tethabuna.
second person, the people you're talking to, you. So you guys, 3 or more, males.
okay.
You girls, 3 or more, female.
Okay, now I see. Okay, it's plural all the way up. You got it going up. I'm looking at it as going across. That's what kind of confused me.
And I got the chart there. This is your chart. You got single here, dual in the middle, plural on the left.
Yeah.
Third
I
person,
got you, I got
top two, second.
But it's like going up though. Well, I got it. Okay.
Anyway,
Yathabu and Tethabu, masculine, feminine, singular, single person. Then you got Yathabani, that's dual. Then you got Tethabuna and
No.
Tethebna.
yadhabuna.
I mean Yathabuna and Yathebna, and that's third person talking about they, and that's plural. Okay. Okay. The sister saying she didn't understand either. I don't know if she understands it now.
Right. I'm trying to go through it. But even still, the question not clear. I'm not, on the first part, second part, third part. I don't know what first, second, third parts are. So.
No, the first person, she can understand the first person, because I think she was confused like I was. I'm not sure.
This chart is something that you have to learn. You have to learn this. If you don't want to learn this chart, then you can just give up Arabic. I'm serious. If you're not going to try to learn this chart, you just give it up, because this is the only way you're going to understand how verbs and stuff work. How, we're in one present tense verb. I mean, we're not even in the past tense right here, and you have to learn this. So you have this chart is singular, dual, and plural. This column is singular, this column is dual, this column is plural. The top two are third person, who I'm talking about. The middle two are second person, who I'm talking to. And the last row is first person, the ones who are talking, right? And then you have male, female, male, female, and there is no male, female for first person. It doesn't, the male and the female are the same, right? So if you want to know how to conjugate a verb, then you look at this chart here and you say, okay, I want to talk to the first person plural. Okay, nadhabu, or I want to talk first person plural. Nadhabu, najlisu, nashrabu, nakulu, naqra'u, nusalli, right? Whatever the case is. I want to talk about second person dual, right? Tajlisani, tashribani, takulani, taqru'ani, tusalliyani, all of that. You want to talk about third person singular, male, right? Yajlisu, yashrabu, yakulu, yakra'u, yusalli, yad'u, all of that. And you just have to fill it in. And so you have to play with this chart. And you have to learn the past tense of it as well. And you have to learn the command of it. And the command of it is only here, because you can't command yourself and you can't command third person. You can only command someone that you're talking to, right? So command verbs are less. So the point was, the whole point of all that was to say that these here, they're marfu with a dhamma. Right? All of these are marfu with a dhamma. Then we have some here, they're marfu with an alif. Right? You have others, they're marfu with a waw. Right? This one over here, it's marfu with this ya al-mukhataba. It's called ya al-mukhataba, the feminine that you're talking to. Right? And this is marfu with a noon and niswa. These over here, if I can get another color, I don't know what color, but noon and niswa. Right? They're marfu with different things. They're marfu with different things. Right? Now, when they become mansoob, they also become mansoob with different things. They can become mansoob with hadf noon. For instance, you're going to drop the noon in some of these. You're going to drop the noon here. 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 You're going to drop the noon there. Same thing with medzum. So when we're talking about something over here in our chart being mansoob or medzum or marfu, it doesn't always mean with a dhamma or a fatha or a sukoon. It can be with other than that. Right?
Yes.
And that requires us to learn verbs. This chart should be filled out when until you know the process. Like right now, if I learn a new verb, I don't have to go and put it in this chart here. But I used to, whenever I learned a verb, put it in this chart and write it out, past tense, present tense. Get you a piece of paper. Get you a piece of notebook paper, right? A notebook or whatever, right? You know, get your notebook, and on your notebook, right? On your notebook, up in the corner, write your verb. And say, for instance, this verb is going to be dhahaba. Right? And then write your verb. You want make you a chart. This is third person. This is this is plural. This is dual. This is singular. You know, these two are third person, masculine, feminine. These two, second person, masculine, feminine. This one, first person. And this is present tense. I want to do the same thing down here, right? With past tense, right? And you don't have to necessarily write your plural, your dual, and your singular again. They're still in the same column. And put your third person, masculine, feminine. Second person, masculine, feminine, right? And first person, and make your charts. And put in. We got yadhabu, tadhabu, tadhabu. نعم تذهبوا تذهبين أذهبوا ذهب ذهبت all that, and fill it in. ذهبت ذهبتي ذهبت. Fill in your charts until you know how to conjugate a verb, right? Arabic, you know, we as Americans, a lot of times we don't know how to learn. Alhamdulillah, foreigners, they know how to learn a lot of times, especially those raised in their countries, because they memorize. In America, we don't memorize. We're not really taught to memorize. In America, we're taught to be thinkers, and that's why we're philosophers and we go astray, right? Because we overthink things, right? And a lot of times we prohibit ourselves from learning or prevent ourselves from learning because we don't want to submit to the process. We don't want to learn the language naturally, right? We want to advance. We don't want to learn like a little kid learns. We don't want to make the mistakes that little kids make. You know, we don't say me hungry, me hungry. No, you want to say I am hungry, and you want to say it with proper Arabic, which is great. But we have to go through that kid phase, and we have to make mistakes. So in some ways, we want to be advanced. But then in other ways, when it comes to the times of actually being advanced by sitting down and doing this homework, we said, no, I want to learn the language, you know, like how Arabs learned it, how I learned English. I didn't have to do all that. I just learned, okay, but you got to combine between the two processes. You're not 6 anymore. You're not 4. I can't just teach you the language by putting you in front of a cartoon. If you're 3, 4 years old, you could sit and watch TV and learn the language. But you're not 3 or 4 years old anymore, so you need more than that. So it means you got to sit down with a notebook and you got to do your homework. Without doing that, you're just fooling yourself. Right? So, and if you downloaded that app, Cave, right? Then all of these things are there. All of these things. What happens when it becomes Mejzoom? What happens when it becomes Mansoob? What does it look like when it's Mudari? In the past, in the present, in the command, all of those verbs are there. So you can compare what you want to do. You can make your charts. You can do all of that. Right? You can do all of that. The app has all of that for all the different types of verbs. You know, if you don't love math, you're not going to love this. If you hate math, you're going to hate learning these things. Right? And if you hate math, you feel, well, I don't use math like that in my everyday life. That's fine. But you want to use this in your everyday life, so you need to learn to like it. Now, that's what we learned previously. Right? This is what we were learning previously. Today, and we've learned this as well too, but we're trying to review. Kana wa akhawatuha. Kana wa akhawatuha. We don't need to go over all of it. We're just going to talk about it a little bit. Kana wa akhawatuha appear before a nominal sentence, before a sentence that begins with a noun. So we have az-zihamu shadid, the crowdiness, the whatever, right? The crowd is intense. It's, you know, it's a lot. It's very crowded. Then you put that in front of that crowd, or the crowd, or whatever you want to call it, however you want to translate it, az-ziham, the busyness, the crowdiness, right? Then it's a noun. Al-baytu nadifun, the house is clean. It's a noun. Al-thobu qasirun, the thob is short. Al-bardu qarisun, the cold is like it bites, right? It's that cold. It's freezing. It's biting cold, like that, right? So all of these are nouns. Then kana wa akhawatuha appear in front of them. What happens when kana wa akhawatuha appear in front of a noun, a nominal sentence? We see here kana az-zihamu shadidan. Here we have a nominal sentence. This is the mubtada, right? This is the khabar. This is the subject, this is the predicate, basically, right? The mubtada and the khabar. Both of them, as we said, are marfu'. Both of them are marfu'. Mubtada is marfu', khabar is marfu'. Al-baytu nadifun, same thing. If I were to erase this and say, I'm going to draw me a line somewhat down here, and you could do it all the way. This is your mubtada, this is your khabar, all the way down. And we find both of them are marfu', all of them. on every line. All of them are marfu'. Right? If I go down, I keep drawing my line. All of them. Mubtada, khabar, marfu'. Now, what happens over here when I put my kana wa akhawatuha in front of it? Akhawat is sisters, the plural of ukht. Ukht, akhawat. It's sisters, because everything that kana does to a sentence, so do they. They have the same function, right? They have the same function. So it's called as sisters because the same thing kana does to a sentence, its sisters do to the sentence. And then we can draw our line back here between the words that we had before. And look at those words now. When we look at them, we see that the mubtada stayed marfu', but the khabar became mansub in all of them. Do we see that?
Became mansub.
Yeah. Shadidun became shadidan. Nadifun became nadifan, mansub. Qasirun became qasiran. Qarisun became qarisan. All of the khabar in the first one, from this first column, in this first row over here on the right, reading Arabic, that's the first row, right? They are marfu'.
I had it confused with the sukun.
Right. Well, mansub here with fathas because it's a simple noun, right? We're not talking about anything where it's becoming mansub with a ya or whatever, right? This is singular nouns like this. So here in this column, the khabar is marfu'. Here in this column, it's no longer marfu'. It's mansub. Do you see that? Everyone sees that? The sisters, they see it? Okay. Now, the thing, let's look at two things. Is marfu' not because of the dhamma. The dhamma is the sign of it being marfu'. The dhamma is the sign, not because of the dhamma. It's marfu' because it's the khabar.
Yeah.
The khabar is marfu'. Right?
That's why it's marfu'. Makes it like that.
It's marfu' because it is the khabar. That's the sabab. That's the reason. That's the because of. The sign of it being marfu' is the dhamma. But the reason that it's marfu' is because it's the khabar. Because it's the mubtada. That's why. If you remember, we talked about this before. We have certain words which are marfu'. We have words which are mansub. We have words which are majroor. And if I would have wrote smaller, I could have said words which are majzoom. And we could figure them out. We said, for instance, what is marfu'? The mubtada. Right? Is always going to be marfu'. The khabar is always going to be marfu'. The present tense verb with nothing in front of it. Right? With nothing in front of it is marfu'. Right? The fa'il. The fa'il, the doer of the verb, is marfu'. Mansub, we have the maf'ulun bihi. Right? It's mansub. Right? Majroor is after a preposition called ismu jar. Right? It comes after a harf jar. We also have mudaf ilayh. Right? Is majroor. right? The word that's mudaf ilayh is majroor, right? Then we learned what else could be maf'ulun bi, what else could be mansub. It could be a present tense verb, with an, lan, idhin, and k in front of it, right? We could have, if we had majzoom, right? Majzoom, we could put a present tense verb, with lam, la, or in front of it, right? So you start being able to plug and play these words inside of their things. You know what they are when I read it, because we're reading without vowels eventually. So is it, how do I pronounce it? How do I say it? How do I understand it? Well, if it's the maf'ulun bihi, it's mansub. I'm going to pronounce it like this. If it's the mubtada, it's marfu. I'm going to pronounce it like that. If it comes after fi or ala or min or ila or any of these, then it's going to be majroor. Right? And we're getting examples of this and reading Nawaqid al-Islam with the sharh, because it's not vowelized. Right? It's not vowelized. So we're getting examples and how to apply this. Now, I'm going to give you some more things to fill in here in a second. After we understand that if we look at this first column here, first column in Arabic on the right, that the first word in the sentence is the mubtada, the second word in the sentence is the khabar, and we see both of them are marfu'. So we look at our chart, mubtada and khabar, there, we got that covered. Now we have kana wa akhawatuha entering on the sentences. Now there's two things we want to look at here. One, we want to find out what are the akhawatu kana, what are they? So we can look at them and figure out what they mean a little bit, so we can learn and build our vocabulary. And second, we want to look at and see what did they do to the mubtada and the khabar. So if we look at the mubtada, after kana was entered onto it, nothing happened. It's still marfu', but the difference is now it's called ismu kana, or ismu sara, ismu laysa, ismu asbaha, like this, right?
Sara.
Huh? We're gonna get there. I told you we're gonna get there. It's from the akhawatu kana. We're gonna discuss it. Just give me a minute. We gotta cover one base at a time. So we see when kana is entered onto these sentences, the mubtada remains marfu'. However, it's no longer called the mubtada, it's called ismu kana. Right? So now we can add to our marfu' things ismu kana. Right? Then we have in this second column, our khabar is no longer marfu'. It became mansub, and it's called khabaru kana, or khabaru sara, khabaru laysa, khabaru asbaha, like this. So when we look over here, we can say now for our mansub things we have khabar kana. Right? So now, if I remember that ismu kana, the noun that kana is changing, the noun that kana is having an effect on, is called ismu kana, and it stays marfu'. Then if I see kana as ziham mushadidin without vowels on it, I'm going to know that this is marfu' and that this is going to be mansub. Right? And khabru kana is mansub. Now, that's one thing we want to learn. That our mubtada, it becomes called ismu kana and it remains marfu'. And that our khabar becomes khabru kana and it becomes mansub. Is that comprehensible?
No.
Oh yeah. Now, what are the meanings of these words? We have kana. Why is it not right there? We have kana. We have sara. We have laysa. Right? We have asbaha. Right? And we have a lot of these, which are amsa, adha. Right? What are they? Kana means was. It's the past tense of was. So he was, right? As Allah says in the Quran, kun, fayakun. Kun, which is the command, be, and it was, right? Kana yakunu, meaning to be, or is, or was, or are, depending on if it's dual or plural or past or present and all of that, right? Kana puts things in the past tense. Sara changes something from one thing to another. So, Sara thobu qasirun, the thob became short. Meaning it was long and it became short. Sar al-barid al-bard qarisan. The cold became, extreme or whatever, right? Meaning it was cold before, but now it became to the point where, my fingertips feel like they're falling off. So Sara changes something from one thing to another. So when Abdullah said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Sara Abdullahi Musliman. Abdullah became a Muslim. Right? Laysa is a negation. We've had this a lot of times in hadith and so on, the stuff we've been reading. Laysa, it's a negation. Right? Asbaha basically means to wake up or to do something in the morning. Right? Asbaha An-Nahw maridan. Asbaha al-jaw mumtiran. Right? Meaning that this person woke up sick. Right? This person woke up sick. Right? The weather, al-jaw, became rainy. Mumtiran. Right? Al-jaw mumtir, the weather is rainy. Asbaha al-jaw mumtiran, meaning the weather was rainy in the morning time. From the word subh. Right? Subh, like morning time. Right? So, this has to do with it taking place or becoming that in the morning. Sara, it could be any time. Asbaha is it doing it in the morning. Amsa, from the word masa. We have sabah, morning, masa, evening. So amsa al-amilu mut'iban. The worker basically entered into the evening tired. Al-amil mut'ab. He's tired. The worker is tired. Amsa al-amilu mut'iban, basically entered the evening tired. Right? It gives you a fact of what time of the day this person is doing that action. What time it's happening to him. Adha, from the word duha, meaning like mid-morning. Right? Duha, without the dots. Duha, the dot on the ya, not on the dad, not the ya. Meaning, he did this at duha time. Right? This happened around duha, meaning not at fajr time, but before dhuhr, in the daytime, mid-morning. right? Dhalla, dhalla has got to do with the evening, not the nighttime like amsa. Bata is the night, like the middle of the night. So these words, then you have to just, you'll get to use them. Now, a few other points, and this is something we've been through all this before, so you can go watch the previous video on it or whatever. But the point is that the point that we wanted to see is that the mubtada is now ismu bata or ismu kana, and that it's marfu, and the khabar became khabaru bata or khabaru kana, and it's mansub. Now to memorize these akhawatu kana, that's something you're just gonna have to do. You're gonna have to play with them. You're gonna have to get enough experience. Maybe you won't remember them all right now. Maybe you don't make a chart and memorize them. However, as you see them enough times in the future, you're going to pick them up. The more time you spend memorizing them, the better for you. The more time you plan on just picking them up naturally from your reading, the longer it's going to take you. But if you read a lot, it's going to happen. The last point on this is that all of these can be made, all of these that we have right now are in the past tense. Right? Oh, and all of them can be made present except laysa. Laysa is only for the past tense. Right? It doesn't have a present tense conjugation. But bata can become yabitu, dhalla yadhillu, adha yudha, and so on and so forth. Right? All of them can be kana yakunu, sara yasaru. Right? Asbaha yusbihu, amsa yumsiu, like this. They can all be made present except for laysa. It only stays in the past tense. And they can be conjugated, including laysa. Meaning, kana, right? Give me 1 second here. Change my pen for a second. Kana, he was. Kanat, she was. Kunta, you were. Kunti, you were to a female. Kuntu, right? I was. Right? Kanu, they can be made first person, second person, third person. They can be made singular, dual, and plural. They can be masculine and feminine. All of them can be done like that. Sara can become sarat, surta, surti, surtu, so on and so forth.
So now you said that first one is kana he.
Kana is he. All of these are he right now.
Oh, okay. But I thought you were talking about with a hat on the end of it. That's why I was wondering, like, well, where?
No, he for him.
Yeah.
She for her, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they can all be made him, her, them, us. They can all be made, as we said, first, second, third person. They can all be made feminine or masculine. They can all be made, right, past and present, right? They can all be made dual, singular, plural. They can all be made all of this. They can be conjugated, right? And so that's I don't know what else to say. You got questions and you got questions, but the main thing you want to know is that kana wa akhawatuha, they can all be conjugated. They can all be past and present and future, except, or past, present, and command, except for laysa. Laysa does not take present tense conjugation. right? They all can be conjugated. And that the khabar, the mubtada becomes ismu kana and it stays marfu', and that the khabar becomes khabru kana and it becomes mansoob.
So with the being mansoob, I see all these fatatain.
Right.
Could it be just a fata?
Yeah, depending on
Okay.
yeah, but here because of the position or the function it's having in the sentence right now. But it could for sure just be a fatha. Depending on the word. Here these sentences are simple sentences. This, we're talking about a simple 2-word sentence there. Mubtada khabar. There's nothing else in it. Once you start making more complex sentences, then the words, of course, will take on that complex, factor or whatever. But for now, they're keeping it simple. So we'll just read this with the 3 minutes we have left, and then we'll let you soak that in. But it says, كان مثال في قسم الأول يتألف من مبتدا وخبر, meaning in the first row on the right, it was made up of a mubtada and a khabar. وهم مرفوعان كما علمت, and they are marfu', 2 marfu' words. The mubtada and the khabar are marfu', as you have already learned. وإذا نظرت إلى قسم الثاني, and if you look at the second column, the second section of words, رأيت الأمثلة عينها بعد أن دخل على كل منها أحد أفعال, then you're going to see that after you enter these verbs, كان صار ليس أصبح أمس أضحى ظل بات, you're going to see إذا تأملت, if you contemplate أواخر الأسماء في هذا القسم, if you look at the noun, the last noun in this section, وجدت الاسم الأول مرفوعا, the first noun is marfu' في كل أمثلة, then in every example. والاسم الثاني منصوبا في جميعها, and that the second noun is mansoob in all of them. وما حدث هذا التغيير إلا من دخول الأفعال المتقدمة, and the only thing that caused this change was the entrance of these verbs, which are kana wa akhawatuha. These are all verbs. We said they can be conjugated, past and present, meaning they're verbs, right? That when you do this, they will change. فهذه الأفعال إذا تدخل على المبتدا وخبر, then these verbs, if they're entering in to a mubta and a khabar, فَتَرْفَعُ الْأَوَّل, then the first one stays marfu' وَيُسَمَّى ismuha, and it's called ismu of that verb, right? وَيَنْسِبُ الثَّانِي, and the second one becomes mansub, وَيُسَمَّى خَبْرُهَا, and it's called the khabar of that verb, right? And all of them can become basically وَيَعْمَلْ الْمُضَارِعَ الْأَمْرُ مِنْ هَذِهِ الْأَفْعَالِ عَمَلَهَا غَيْرَ أَنَ لَيْسَ, meaning all of them can be mudari or a command except for laysa. It's a negation. All of them can be made past, present, or command except for laysa. It's only in the past, right? And if you look and you'll find, because we only got a little bit left, this is just the meanings of them, right? That we said Sara it changes from one thing to another. Laysa is a negation. Asbaha, amsa, adha, dhalla, bata. All these got to do with the time of the day, right? That's your rule.
No.
Contemplate on that and know that next week is inna wa akhawatuha, and it's going to have the exact opposite effect, which we've already been through. I'll see you tomorrow for Matun Talbul Ilm. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.